Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 34 of Be With Me. We're in a little series about the results of generosity. And quite frankly, I thought I did a poor job with yesterday's podcast. I don't think it was my best because I think it was not clear. It certainly wasn't simple. That is, I gave 9 results of generosity, which is all great. They're all in the Bible. I think it was biblically faithful, but I don't think it was very clear, and I don't think it was based on awe. And so I want to go back to just one of those things, and I want to look at verse 13 and 14 of chapter 9. It says, by their approval of this service, that is, the Corinthians are giving a gift to Jerusalem. And then Paul's going to describe what happens here. They will glorify God because of your submission that comes from your confession of the gospel of Christ and the generosity of your contribution for them and for others. And here's the verse for today. While they long for you and pray for you because of the surpassing grace of God upon you. So I want to focus today on what happens when we are generous, and specifically I want to get to this idea of other people. The result of being generous with a group of people is that group of people prays for you, and I want to value how important prayer is. I kind of stole Jim Elliot's line, what if giving what you cannot keep gains what you cannot earn? So just for purposes of this podcast today, I'm going to say that the most valuable thing in the world is prayer. Maybe it's not the most valuable thing, but it's of high value for sure. And it connects the needs and aches and despair of this world to another world that asks God to come and help us. And, it's either that's high value or priceless to know that we're not alone and God is with us. So the insights of today is, and specifically, is that the result of prayer, let me rephrase that. The results of Corinthians' generosity to the Jerusalem church results in having that group return something even more valuable. So the Corinthians give money, but the Jerusalem church, they give prayer, and it's something you can't buy anywhere. So it's even Elon Musk might not have this most valuable thing. It's not something you can earn. And what kind of job pays in this type of coin? Or let's say you had a job where you say, hey, you could go work at McDonald's, but we're only going to pay you in prayer. Would you take the job? So prayer is something that must be freely giving. It's not something you can exact from someone, and you can't buy it, which is why even the richest guys in the world and the gals in the world may not have this. So in the context of generosity, the Corinthians' generosity to the Jerusalem church resulted in prayers for the Corinthians by the Jerusalem church. So let's just step back and say, what if someone prayed for me? What does that tell you? Well, it tells you something about them. It says that they're a believer, that they have faith, that they're saved, and they have a relationship with God. And just think about that. What if that's really true, that another person on this planet walking around that we can see and touch has a relationship with God from another galaxy? And what if God thinks about them in a special way, that they're valued by God? That is, that they have an access with God, kind of like a special access. And what if God, when this person talks to God, what if God actually listens to them? Or even more so, what if that person is indwelt by God, and this person has a kind of a particular understanding about the way of God and the ways that God works? And what if they have this willingness to say, hey, I see that you have a need, and I'm going to put you in this process that I understand well. It's like the praying person saying, hey, I have this friend of mine, and let me put in a good word for you. Maybe he can help you in your situation. And oh my goodness, would you do that for me? So what if God actually listens to people, and the prayer of a righteous man, as it says in James, actually does avail much? What if God listens to his own? And what if God has the power to move hearts and move cells and move mountains and heal people and move change forward? What would you give to have someone pray for you? How valuable, and I think this asks the question, is how valuable is prayer for you? And it just really struck me today. So this could be a worthless result. And if it's low value, then this passage means nothing to me. But if it's high value, I will treasure and covet your prayers. So the teaching point, or the take-home point, is, do you value prayer? And if so, what is your needful thing that you would ask people to pray for? And are you in a fellowship that people could tell you what their prayers were, or prayer needs were, or that you would know? So here's what I would ask. Please pray for me. Pray for this podcast. It is a treasure that I could never purchase. I could never buy it from you. And it might result in the unleashing of a power that is beyond me, beyond my church, beyond my state, beyond my country, beyond my planet. And it may result in this intergalactic power that's been waiting for your prayers. So I'm telling you, I value prayer, and I value your prayers. And sometimes I pray for you, in general, my listeners, and I know many specific listeners by name, and I pray for you. So I would ask that you would pray for me and pray for this podcast and blog, and unleash this power and unleash this person, capital P person, God, who is accessed by prayers. Here's a couple things you could pray for. I'd pray that I would be accurate and handle the word well, which is what this podcast is all about. But I'd also pray that I could make the gospel winsome, attractive. I pray that the footprint of this podcast and blog, that the footprint would grow, and then I pray that you would protect me from all the harm spiritually that would impair this ministry. I value prayer. I hope you value prayer. It's the most valuable thing in the world, at least for today. Please pray. Thanks for listening. Thanks for praying.